Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing one of the most ultra phones on the market, and that is the Vivo X200 Ultra. Well, I guess more of a camera review. I'm not going to really review the phone itself as like a daily driver, but mainly the camera. So let's get into it. Alright, so this phone is one of the most camera-centric phones you could buy in 2025. And just look at it. It looks like it's a camera. Like you turn it sideways, it has the Zeiss branding, the big lens cutout type layout, and then you have the camera button, which actually functions just as well as the Apple camera control button. Like tap and hold, you can do the auto exposure and focus lock, press it down fully to take a shot. You can also zoom in and out, or you can switch to camera mode. So it's very similar to Apple's camera control, but I think the placement of the button is better than Apple's placement. And it's like, this doesn't look like a huge difference, but small differences like this when it comes to ergonomics for using buttons and stuff like that actually matter a lot. So the fact that this one is slightly more down makes it way easier to use like this. If you want to take a picture with the button in portrait or just holding it side by side, like this feels a little bit more like an actual camera and it's easier to use, more natural than the Apple button. But anyways, this video is not about the button fully. It's mostly about the camera prowess of this phone. Like this phone camera setup is pretty insane all across the board. Every single camera on the back of this phone is just high quality, very detailed, and like you're not really missing out when you go to the camera and look at the focal lengths. You have ultra wide 0.4, and then it goes all the way up to like 6.7. The iPhone 16 Pro Max here, you have the S25 Ultra here as well. Grab a Google Pixel 10 Pro and stuff like that. This phone is gonna outshoot those phones on like most levels when it comes to still photography, and then especially when it comes to zoom. Like there isn't a phone on the market, I think, that compares to this phone or can do as well as this phone in zoom photography. Like this phone definitely falls apart more than the S25 Ultra when it's above 30x, but no one's really taking 30x photos anyways. It doesn't really matter at that level, but anything between 1 to 10x, this phone is the best zoom camera. Anything above 5x, really best zoom camera. Even the 3x is really good. Yeah, all that to say, this phone just covers the focal lengths across the board and is one of the most versatile phones you can get in 2025 when it comes to the cameras. Have a lot of camera modes and features. You can do a bunch of different focal lengths in portrait mode up to 4x. You have landscape at night, snapshot, and then in video you can shoot up to 8K 30 FPS, but who does that anyways? What I like is that you have 120 FPS natively in your default video mode, so that is really nice. And you also can shoot in Dolby Atmos, HDR. You can shoot log video as well. So if you're somebody who literally relies on your phone camera for work, you want to create like actual real videos, you know, whether it be like short films, YouTube videos, etc. This is the phone to get. Even like in video, it does a really good job at video as well, and just all the options you have. And then you have portrait video, so artificially blur the background. But like, to be honest, you don't even need that, because the depth of field for these cameras on this phone are really good. You're gonna see pictures, even just showing you behind the camera. Like, the depth of field is amazing on all of these cameras. Look at the natural blur and bokeh behind the subject, you know, what the phone is focused on. Even the focus points of this phone, like, it's very creamy. It feels like a actual camera, the way it rolls off, the way it's like kind of narrow for a lot of the focal lengths on this phone. Like, is I can't even stress it enough. It's actually really cool and fun to shoot with. And then going over to more, you do have a lot more things like panorama. You got document scanning, obviously, slow-mo. This is a dedicated mode for taking pictures at a concert, so that's really cool. That might be something that, you know, you might want. And like, to be honest, this is probably one of the best phones to take pictures at a concert, because it has really big sensors for all the cameras, especially the zoom cameras. It's going to be a great experience. And then you have underwater, which is cool, pro mode, spatial camera, so you can take, you know, photos and videos for your Apple Vision Pro, if you have Apple Vision Pro or other VR headset. And then you can scan high resolution images, telephoto extender. So I don't have that, but Vivo sells a telephoto lens, like a huge lens for this phone. Smartphone companies don't really do that kind of accessories normally. So they sell a big telephoto lens that allows this phone to like literally become a wildlife photography machine. So that's pretty sick. Then super moon and food, you know, typical things, but there's a lot of camera modes that make this phone amazing. Now, outside of the photography, you still have a really top tier phone. You know, you're going to have 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. I think you can get up to 1 terabyte of storage. The high definition screen, really beautiful screen that works well for media consumption and all that stuff. It's very bright. This phone has Snapdragon 8 Elite, so it's going to be covered in power. And then the battery size, 6,000 milliamps, a really huge battery. It's just a beast of a phone that stacks up really well against the other top tier smartphones out there. It's even better in a lot of different areas, especially when you consider the photography aspect of it, the camera aspect of it. So yeah, performance is really good. Battery life is really good. Hardware is nice. Premium feel. The weight of the phone, it packs a lot into it, and it's only 235 grams. So it is heavier than the 16 Pro Max and the S25 Ultra. However, I mean, look at this camera bump. And then also the fact that it has a 6,000 milliamp battery. That's a whole 1,000 more battery size capacity than the S25 Ultra. A lot to love with this phone. The only thing is, the reason why I'm not doing like a full review of this phone, like using it as my daily driver and all that stuff, is because this is a Chinese smartphone originally, and it is the Chinese ROM, so it's running on the Chinese version of their software, which is not necessarily a problem. It's just that for me personally, I don't want to have to set this phone up, especially if I'm not keeping it as my main phone. Vivo's software is not my favorite anyway, so like I wouldn't choose a Vivo phone as my main phone, my daily driver. I know some people will be like, why, man? And I'm not knocking you guys who do daily drive a Vivo phone. I think Vivo is like killing the game in the last like 4 years, to be honest. Vivo has been killing it, making amazing phones. I think the software is also good too. Like, you have things like this 3-finger swipe to enter into a quick split screen. Really nice. I love gestures like that. You have this where you swipe and hold, and then you can open up a little edge panel type thing and do a quick floating window. If you're in the app, you can swipe and hold to the right for a floating window. You can swipe and hold to the left for a split screen as well. So I love, the gestures. There's a lot more features on this phone as well that I'm not going to mention in this video, because I'm not trying to spend too much time talking about a phone that I didn't really use personally too much. All I know is people love this phone. They say it's good. They say the software experience is good. And I think from what I see, I think I agree with that for the most part, as someone who hasn't used the phone too much as a daily driver, just mainly been using the camera. But yeah, it's just the Chinese software. Like, there's so many aspects of a Chinese phone that you can't really get rid of. Like, even though the phone's set in English, you still will see Chinese, and which is not necessarily a problem. Seeing the language, I don't really care. It doesn't make me go, like some people get mad at. I don't really mind it. But like, if I'm gonna choose a phone, like, this is not a cheap phone, so if I'm gonna choose an expensive phone to keep as my main and stuff like that, then I would rather it just be, more cohesive of a software experience for me personally. I think if you live in China, if you speak Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever, then I think you will have a great experience with this phone. Like, if I double tap, normally when you double tap the power button, you open up the camera on most Android phones, but on these Chinese phones, typically it brings up, I think, like a Chinese version of like Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, you know. And it's not necessarily a huge issue, you know what I'm saying? But there is gonna be a lot of, you know, Chinese stuff riddled throughout the software that you just can't get rid of. Notifications, there's gonna be apps, like this is how it comes fresh out the box. A lot of Chinese bloatware and just Vivo bloatware in general. Which is not if you're keeping this phone, you can definitely set it up and tweak it to your liking. I've seen videos, your average dad tech, you know, he has multiple guides on how to use a Chinese phone, Chinese ROM phone, when you don't live in China, and you can make it work for sure. But for me personally, I'm not trying to do all of that, which is unfortunate because I do like to review phones and stuff like that and test them out to their full extent. But like I tried to, you know, daily drive Chinese phones in the past, and I think at this point in my life, I'll definitely test them out, you know, compare them to other phones in different ways, especially in the future when I have them for longer periods of time. Right now, I'm borrowing this for a short period of time. I'll definitely test them in different ways. But in terms of daily driving, I don't think I'll ever daily drive a Vivo, Xiaomi, Honor phone unless they come to North America or they get like software features that I really love. Like, for example, the Oppo phones, the OnePlus phones. I enjoy the software on those phones, so I could probably daily drive those phones, and I have in the past with the OnePlus Open. I have daily driven those phones and it's been a good experience. So if I were to choose a Chinese branded phone, probably one of those. But at the moment, I think I'm good with my Samsung, and I'm not a Samsung fanboy. Like I'm not loyal to Samsung at all. If I see a better phone, I will hop on that, like a better phone for all of my needs personally. But like Samsung has just all the software features, the tweaks, good lock, customization, best customization in the game. Multitasking is the best, in my opinion, on Samsung devices. You have things like Samsung DeX, which I love and use. And then the Z Fold 7 and the Z Fold series, they haven't been the best foldable phones in terms of like hardware and battery size and even thickness and weight. But the thing that keeps me on Samsung's foldables are just the features that Samsung software has. Like I mentioned, all the other stuff. Multitasking is amazing. The hardware is really good. And then it's also something that sells in my country, in Canada, and I can get easy support with a Samsung device if it breaks and has issues. So those are some of the reasons why I'm not going to switch to a Chinese phone. But I think like the Vivo X200 Ultra is an amazing phone from the outside looking in, and the cameras, amazing camera phone for sure. Definitely consider it if you are somebody who loves taking pictures, you're a photography enthusiast, things like that. Definitely consider the Vivo phone, and like you won't have too many problems using this phone in Canada. I think the bands mostly line up with the service providers we have in Canada, but definitely double check that to confirm. So I don't think you'll have any issues like that. There's just gonna be a couple more extra steps to set the phone up to your liking, and then, you know, I don't think you'll ever fully get rid of the Chinese language that is on the phone. That might bother some people. But yeah, I mean, this is the Vivo X200 Ultra. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until the next video, we are out. Peace.